Hey, brother, Bob Gerace here, and I just want to congratulate you for making it this far. And I wanted to start out by giving you extreme encouragement. I want you to know that there's tremendous hope because your marriage is 100% fixable if you're willing to do it God's way. And the problem is like, man, everybody has access to a Bible, but not everybody understands how to implement marriage. And so what I want to do is I want to take you through a series of what I call knobs that I've found that if you're willing to become an elite level husband, you learn how to find these knobs and you learn how to turn them to get the results that you want in your marriage. And there's no trickery and there's no manipulation and there's no gaming or pickup artist. I mean, what this is it's putting God's word into practice, but intelligently at an elite level, the same way that you run your career or your business. So I guess to start, really what I want to say is, man, I found this stuff by mistake. It was 2006. I was a victim, early victim of the economic collapse because we were tied to the home improvement industry. So my business was collapsing. And as the tide went out on the money that was coming in, it really exposed a lot of rocks and garbage on the beach of our marriage. And so our marriage was burning right along with our business. And then I got a hernia and I went in for surgery. And what I found out was that I had advanced cancer. Now, what that did, and it was actually a gift from God, because what it did is it showed me the first knob, the first control that I could turn to make a difference in my marriage. And so let me explain that. Like, if you ever have the misfortune, and I don't wish it on anyone, to be sitting on what I call chemo row. In other words, it's the place where everybody's getting their chemotherapy. What you're going to find is that those people are the most tender-hearted, the kindest, the most caring, devoid of anger. As a matter of fact, they have zero ego. These are going to be the most genuine, real, loving, kind, caring, compassionate, considerate people you'll ever meet. Why? Because they know that there's a significant chance that their life is going to be over soon, and somehow that flips a switch or turns a knob inside your brain that says, I don't need my ego anymore to protect me. And when you're able to turn your ego off, and see, when you find out that you have a near fatal diagnosis of cancer, that ego gets turned off for you. And so by turning that off, what you find is you're able to release your rage. You're able to get rid of your anger. You're able to get rid of your temper and your resentment and your feelings of injustice and your, I know you are, but what am I? And I washed the dishes last week, and when do I get what I want in this marriage? Like, all of that stuff just goes out the window. And so as this happened automatically and naturally because of the diagnosis, what I found is that I got along better with my wife than I had ever gotten along with her before. Now, you may be wondering, oh, but maybe she was just feeling empathetic or sympathetic because you had cancer and it was advanced and you might die. And so I thought of that too. But here's what I found out. After the chemotherapy worked, I continued in this state of no ego. Now, we had already received the information from the doctors that, praise Jesus, I had no evidence of disease. And so I was out of the woods. I was out of danger. And yet I still continued to act like this. And my marriage was so much better. I found that we didn't argue and we didn't bicker and we didn't fight. And the things that she did that used to irritate me or drive me crazy didn't bother me at all. And so we continued on this path for a while. But unfortunately, what happened is that ego began to come back. And before I knew it, the anger and the bickering and the fighting and the arguing had come back into our marriage. So I began to search for how could I achieve the same effect? How could I actually turn off my ego? How could I at least turn it down? How could I temper it? How could I make it subject to me so that I was in control of it? Because here's another thing that I learned. Like, as I started acting better towards her, she started acting better towards me. And it really brought to light this idea that she would say and do things or not say and do things, and it would influence me, and I would react. And I would say or do things, or not say or do things, and that would influence her, and she would react. And so, in essence, she would lead me down a path of emotions and reactions and behaviors, and I would lead her down a path of emotions and reactions and behaviors. And so as I began to put two and two together, and this goes back to God's word, I'm supposed to be leading her. If I could get my emotions, reactions, and behaviors under tight control, well, then I could lead her to have better emotions, reactions, and behaviors. So I began to look for tools, and I began to look for techniques, and I began to look for whatever I could find. And slowly I began to cobble together a set of tools and training and techniques where I was able to turn the volume on my ego way, way, way down. And when that happened, this wonderful relationship came back. This wonderful relationship between my wife and me without the bickering and fighting and arguing and that kind of stuff. It was mine at that point, and it was under my control. And what I find is that this is elite control. This is elite level husband leadership inside the marriage, that you become the chief emotions officer and you lead your wife in that space. And brother, she will follow. She is wired to follow by God. And if you have any doubt that she'll follow, watch how you follow her into negative reactions, emotions, and behaviors if you're untrained in this discipline. Like, you've got to rise up as a man. You've got to actually take control of yourself so that you can lead. Okay. So did that solve all the problems? No. Unfortunately, I had to find another knob to turn. And what that was I could get along with her great, but you know what? So can her sisters, and so can her best friend. And thank God she never had an emotional boyfriend, but so could her emotional boyfriend if she had one, right? So what she's looking for is not only the elite level emotional control inside the husband, but she's also looking for the elite level husband behaviors. What do elite level husbands say, and what do they do? And what do they not say? And what do they not do? And this is a discipline that nobody teaches us as men. And so I had spent so much money hiring coaches and consultants and taking all kinds of courses to exceed in business and entrepreneurship, but I had never really focused like that on my marriage. So as I began to find coaches and consultants, as I began to do the necessary work to level up, to rise up, to ascend as a man, a leader, and a king in the marriage, and I learned how to take on the identity of an elite level husband and therefore to become one, to act like one, even on autopilot, now things were really starting to turn around. And so I thought maybe that would solve the problem. But what I didn't understand is there was another knob I needed to find. And I needed to find it and turn it. And what that was there was all this water under the bridge, all of her disappointment, all of the lies that I had told her, all of the arguments and the fights and the hurt and so many ways that I had damaged their marriage. And so what I understood there is that I had to level up and ascend my ability inside of being an elite level husband. One of the tools I needed in my toolbox was to be able to resolve that marital conflict in the mind of my wife. And this is something that is not intuitive, because as a man, it's not something that we think about. But for women, it's like their whole life. So once I figured out how to actually navigate the conversations that needed to be had, and hear me, brother, you can't have those conversations if you're not showing up with the inner man in control, with that ego turned down. And you can't have those conversations if you're not showing up with the outer man in control and displaying and exhibiting those consistent elite level husband behaviors, because it's just not worth the pain of rehashing everything. But when you do that first thing, you turn that first knob, and you do that second thing, you turn that second knob, now you become attractive to her. And brother, I got to tell you, I always shake my head when I see guys on, social media, and what they're doing is they're saying, oh, you're a simp or a cuck, or, if she doesn't like you, you're weak, and if you want her back. Man, what they don't understand is the reason that your wife doesn't want you is you have failed to remain attractive to her. Like, you're no longer attractive to her. Well, here's something to think about. If you're not attractive to her, what makes you think you're going to be attractive in the long term to any other woman? Unless you're willing to do this work and level up. So you level up your inside, you level up your outside, and now you're attractive to her. And brother, I'm going to tell you, that is enough to go find another woman and to be happy with her for a while. But eventually, here's what's going to happen. Even with those skills, you're human, she's going to get hurt. You must level up your ability to release and resolve her rage, to bury this stuff and so that it's dead, it's gone. It's not coming back up. She's not thinking about it. She's not festering it. She's not collecting evidence about how you're not her Prince Charming, but rather her frog. Like, you've got to, when these issues come up, you have got to address them and resolve them. And when you're in a position where your wife's getting to leave you, and if you're watching this video, that's you, well, then there's a whole pile of that stuff that you need to resolve. And you could walk away and get a new wife, and you can lose all of your money, and you can lose access to your kids, and you can have broken homes and blended families and suicide and all that stuff. Or you can do this work, brother. So rise up on the inside, rise up on the outside, and then learn how to handle those conflicts and resolve those issues. Okay, so I thought, okay, maybe that was the last thing that I needed to turn. And it turns out it wasn't. there's another thing. The fourth knob that you need to turn is that you've got to figure out a way to coach your marriage forward, to keep her interested, to keep her attracted, to keep her in the game. And the way we do this is a very long, drawn-out process. But in short, what I want to tell you is that you've got to continue to expand and build and protect and nurture and nourish your kingdom, your family, your marriage, your relationships, your finances, your health, everything that matters in life. And you've got to lead her in that space, because if she looks at you and you're moving in every direction she wants to go, and she sees herself as the biblically weaker sex, but in other words, she knows she's following and she wants to follow, and that's a beautiful thing here. Like, we all want her to submit. Like, she's not submitting to a fraud. But if she, you know what? I'll tell you who she's going to want to submit to. She's going to want to follow, which is probably a better way of saying it, follow a man who is headed in the direction in which she wants to go. And on top of that, a man who is consistently making progress in that area. So how do you solve this problem? Well, you got to find the knob and you got to find the tools to actually change it, to reduce your rage, to lower the volume of your ego so that you're in control emotionally. You've got to find the knob and you've got to find the tools to actually turn the knob to increase your elite level husband behaviors. And then you've got to find the knob and you've got to find the tools to understand how to turn the knob in the direction of becoming an elite level marriage conflict resolution expert. And then you've got to find the knob and find the tools to actually turn it in order to expand that kingdom going forward every day in a way that is visible and meaningful to her in a direction where she wants to go. And so really, brother, at this point, you've got a choice. And what that choice is you can take what I've told you here and you can go start to search it out on social media, and you can try to look for free advice and try to cobble it together and take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And if you're like most men, you know, you're going to run out of clock. Like, the clock is ticking, the runway is short. She's either already left you, or she's getting ready to leave you, or she's got an emotional boyfriend, or she's filing papers, whatever it is. Like you don't have a lot of time. And so really what that is it becomes the 5th knob that you can turn. And the 5th knob that you can turn is really the one knob that helps you to turn the other 4. And what that is to associate with a brotherhood of men who have made this a lifelong study and who have learned exactly what and where those knobs are and exactly how to turn them most efficiently, most safely, most quickly, and most assuredly. And so what you do is you associate with men who have done it before, and you take on the same characteristics of those men. You know, there's a saying that we never rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training. Well, my brother, if you haven't had training in how to turn these knobs and you go try to turn them, it's going to blow up in your face and backfire, and she's just going to shut down harder. So now you have a choice. You can either turn this off and you can go about your life and try to solve this problem, or you can get on the phone with one of my elite level husband marriage coaches, one of the alumni, men who I have coached myself in these exact same disciplines, so that they can have that elite level, have it all marriage. And you can map out a path for what it looks like if you were to be invited into our brotherhood and into our programs, so that you can get access to this material, these tools, this training, this brotherhood, this camaraderie, this coaching, so that you have somebody to walk you through every step of this, step by step. We can't do it for you, brother, but we can absolutely do it with you if you qualify. And here's what I want to say about that. This is not for everyone. Look, for a lot of reasons I don't have time to go into here, you've got to be successful in your career, and it's got to be a real career. It can't be an entry-level job. The best candidates are the business owners, the C-level managers, the national directors and vice presidents, the doctors, the lawyers, the pilots, the architects, the accountants, the CPAs. Like, you've got to have a real career, and it's got to be successful. For a lot of reasons, man. It's about her respect for you. It's about the lifestyle you can give her. It's about how hard you had to work to become that guy. It's about the unique challenges and problems in the marriage when money isn't the primary concern. Like, if money is the primary concern, fix that first, because she's going to leave you for somebody who makes more money. So, if you feel that you qualify, if you would like a chance to be invited into this program, then I want you to book a call right now. have a conversation, 45 minutes minimum, 90 minutes maximum, with one of my elite level husband coaching men, one of my alumni, one of the guys who has been through my program. And if he thinks you're a fit, and if you think you're a fit, the gates will open, the doors will open. We will welcome you into this Christian brotherhood of elite level Ephesians 5 warrior class husbands who are also successful in business and their career. And your life is going to change forever. And I promise you that call, whether you decide to join this brotherhood or not, whether you're invited to join this brotherhood or not, it is going to change your life forever. So, competition for these calls is tight. Go ahead and book your call right now, and I'll see you on the other side.